Ukrainian intelligence officials have stated today that Russian forces and occupation officials have begun to evacuate the cities of Enerhodar and Melitopol and several other settlements in the Zaporizhzhia region near the nuclear power plant. Today, the occupants of the leadership began to leave Enerhodar en masse. Let's all hope that this is just a psychological warfare, or the consequences will be unimaginable. Wagner-linked Telegram channel Grey Zone says the Ukrainian forces are not abandoning attempts to flank Bakhmut from two sides and are succeeding. The situation is becoming more difficult after Wagner forces were replaced by Russian regular forces. The Ukrainians continues to advance on the north flank. The outskirts of Klishchivka have also been reached on the southern flank, and this is where the contact line runs. After the mutiny, Yevgeny Prigozhin has gone from hero to zero in the eyes of the Russian authorities. But how is the Russian media explaining this about turn to the public? Not an easy task, as today's Russian papers suggest. Excellent report from BBC.
I want to concentrate on one article today in Moskovsky Komsomolets because I think it highlights the difficulty the Russian authorities have post-mutiny in explaining to the Russian public how Wagner and Prigozhin have suddenly gone from hero to zero. In other words, how what the authorities created, financed, backed and praised ended up marching on Moscow. This is Vitaly Milonov, Russian MP, posing here with Yevgeny Prigozhin. The article's entitled "A Mutiny Separates Love from Hate." Vitaly Milonov, who loved Wagner, talks about Prigozhin's uprising. At the start of June, Vitaly Milonov was still calling Wagner fighters true patriots. Now, in keeping with the official line, he's talking about Wagner's treachery, betrayal of the interests of the motherland. He draws a parallel with 1917, the removal of the Tsar, the Russian Revolution. He mentions General Vlasov, the Red Army general and Nazi collaborator. Vlasov was executed after the war. But the treachery argument inevitably leads to the question, well, if Prigozhin and some of the Wagner group are traitors, why have charges against them been dropped? Especially since Russian Air Force pilots were killed in the mutiny, shot down by Wagner. Milonov tries to address this, again repeating the Kremlin's argument. The president gave his word. He has expressed his belief that the alternative scenario was that many of our soldiers and civilians could have been killed. The president took this step, a deal with Wagner, and I respect him for this. Remember, it was the Kremlin that gave the green light to Wagner, and that has actually admitted financing Wagner. That aspect isn't addressed here. Milonov criticises Prigozhin for reportedly having said we'll pay compensation to the families of the dead pilots. Milonov adds, we're not talking about a tank crushing a bicycle here or crashing into a circus. Our lads were killed, pilots. It's a huge tragedy. And yet no one is being prosecuted for that. But he also goes out of his way not to dismiss all of Wagner as traitors. He says Wagner fighters who, for example, fought in Bakhmut had his total respect. And yet on Sunday, we heard Russian state television's main news program casting doubt on how effective Wagner had been in the battle for Bakhmut. Slightly different approach from today's Komsomolskaya Pravda, an ultra-pro-Kremlin paper. It has a big article entitled "A Pointless and Failed Mutiny." But it doesn't mention Wagner or Prigozhin at all. Instead, it lists various insurrections and uprisings around the world in recent years, which all failed. The clear message here, mutiny doesn't work.
Russia is on fire. Luzhskaya gas-powered electric plant, 36 megawatts, is on fire after a big explosion in Veliki Novgorod. Fire has engulfed over huge territory. Ukraine's northern borders will be reinforced with both personnel and military equipment due to the latest developments around Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, said commander of the Joint Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Serhiy Nayev.
Працюємо на північному напрямку. Війна триває, ми свідомі цього і робимо все для того, щоб зміцнити наші оборонні спроможності. Служба безпеки, Національна поліція та Національна гвардія невідмінно виконує свої завдання, покладені на них у північній операційній зоні. Ми сьогодні перевірили готовність об'єкту критичної інфраструктури до охорони та оборони його за різних сценаріїв. Хлопці, які виконували ці завдання, показали свої найвищі якості, вміння та навики. Це дуже чудово. Сьогодні на ділянці державного кордону було перевірено його облаштування та готовність сил Державної прикордонної служби України до виконання їм притаманних завдань. Все повністю під контролем. Ми продовжимо робити все, що необхідно для того, щоб коли ворог намагатиметься вступити на українську землю, він відчув всю міць сил оборони. Рухаємося далі. Слава Україні! Разом переможемо!
Reported as the Voronezh region in Russia, a column is spotted with T-54 and 55 tanks. State-of-the-art tech.
Т-55, блядь, видишь, закончились танки-то, блядь, свежие-то, блядь, старье гудят, нахуй.
Ну, что-то посвежее.
Это вообще, да какой посвежее, просто покрасили в какой-то непонятный цвет. А это вообще, ну смотри, какие-то, я даже не, ну это просто...
Ничего, мне кажется, они одинаковые, нет?
Одинаковые.
And they say you have to improvise sometime. Ukrainian anti-drone weapon.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.